Praise the Lord, wonderful family. It's your girl Sandra here, and I'm so excited to be sharing with you once again today. Today is a wonderful day. It's a special day for some, but we thank God for His love and for His mercy and for all that He has done for us, and for all of those that are sharing their love to their loved ones, their friends and family. Yeah, we bless the Lord because the Bible says that above all things, love is the greatest. So we ought to spread love to everyone, not only your spouse. So you might be there and you're like, me, I'm single, I have no one to reach out to, or I have no one to surprise me. No, you can surprise someone close to you, someone you love, a friend, a family member, a best friend, anyone, just to say thank you for their love and for all that they have been doing and for the support they have been to you. Yes, so today what I'm going to share with you is about can a woman do the chase? Like the story of Boaz and Ruth. Just like Boaz positioned herself and she approached Boaz and she did certain things to win his love and affection. Although that was in it had a hidden meaning because it was culture, it was one of their cultural norms that they did. But then now, today, in our daily life, when you compare it to our today, is it right for you to chase the chase as a woman, or it should be the man who should do the chasing? Yes, so I've had quite many instances where you hear people say that this is a different century, this is a different generation. You have to go for what you want, you have to go for what you like. If you like something, talk to someone about it and hear what they have to say. But sometimes there is a way when you do that thing, maybe like when you approach a guy and maybe you are rejected or something like that, there is a way it brings about that low self-esteem. You feel like, I wish I never did that, because probably you feel like it's not right. But then there are people who are so free. If they see what they like, they go for it, and whether they are accepted or not, they move on. Yes, so I remember this one time in my life, I was working in a certain organization, and there was this nice guy, and this guy always came around where I was working from. Sometimes he would just be there, look at me, and if he's taking tea or doing anything, he would just be there staring at me, talking to me. And at some point you start getting mixed signals and you're like, what does this guy really want? Because he's not saying anything to you. Then sometimes so I would be walking in the compound and maybe he's staring at you and you're like, what does this guy really want? And he's not saying anything to you, and for quite some time and you become friends and he's always around you, but there is this eye contact he always gives you, and you receive mixed signals and you're like, is he interested or he's not interested? So I was in that situation for some months and I was like, what can I do? This guy is always around me, he's always staring. Does he like me and he's just afraid of admitting it, or it's something else? So what I decided to do, because it was too much for me, I just like we always do and talk. One evening I went to his office and talked to him, and we were just there talking the normal way we would usually share Bible scriptures because he was also a Christian like me. So I was there chatting with him. It was late in the evening and most people had gone home, and I was still at work and noticed that he was still in his office. So when I talked to him, I thought maybe he would be like, "Oh, Sandra, there is this," or "Give me your number," but he didn't. And I was like, what's up? And I couldn't make a move, neither could I ask him why he's been looking at me a certain way all that while. But I held my peace. It kept going on and on. He would be around my workspace. He would just stand there, look at me, sometimes talking to me, smiling a certain way. And he was a nice guy. I kind of liked him too, but I couldn't. I couldn't say I liked him. So I was there. Things became intense. At some point, I noticed there was some girl who was around him, and sometimes if she would see me with him, there's a way she would act. She would not be happy. She was always around him. But the funny thing is that she was not even his girlfriend, because I got to know later that he had a girlfriend. She was also working in the same organization, though she would go always for field work and all that. So when I got to know about that, I distanced myself from him because I didn't know what he wanted, neither was he saying anything to me. So I stopped talking to him, the way we would talk, share scriptures and all that. So I tried to see how things would go because I didn't want to have a grudge with anyone, yet I hadn't heard anything from the guy and I didn't want to imagine things. So when things got out of hand, and by that time my internship was done in that organization and I was now volunteering, and things were not going on well for me. So I was like, I think the best thing to do right now is to leave and go look for something else to do. So I had started feeling out of place because of how the guy would always be around and all that, but there was nothing going on. And then this other girl looking at me like I'm trying to snatch her guy, yet he was not even her guy. And then possibly the girlfriend finding out that he was always around me. So the times she would be around, she made sure that each time he came around me, she was always there. So I didn't want to cause a scene there or someone say stuff that they don't know. So what I did, I left the place and started my own life. I started looking for something else to do. But then there is this one thing I decided to do with my friend. She was my good friend, and I told her how this guy would always act around me, how he would always act like he liked me, but then he never said a word or never opened up to me. So she was like, I think what I'll do, you can give me the guy's contact, because there is some way, since I was working in the organization, I had his contact. Then I was like, maybe you talk to him and then maybe you give him my contact, because the time I left, I didn't actually tell anyone about it, and I didn't give them a clear reason why I left. So she talked to him and she gave him my contact. So I was expecting him to call, but he never called. So that gave me a conclusion that maybe what I was thinking was wrong, and maybe this guy is possibly like that, or he wanted me maybe to say something but I didn't, or I just don't know. I just concluded things that way, and I didn't want things to escalate in a certain way. Yeah, so imagine if you're in such a scenario, what would you do? Would you go to the guy, approach him and ask him why he looks at you and stuff? Recently, I was talking to a friend of mine, and I asked her what she would do in such a scenario, and she was like, there was this one time this guy was looking at me, I would turn here, do what and what, and he would not stop staring at me. So what I did, I had to ask him what he wanted or why he was looking at me, and the guy was like, I kind of like you, and I think they exchanged contacts, but in the long run she was like, no, he's not my kind of guy. So there are some guys who sometimes maybe may be interested, but maybe they are afraid due to some reasons, and they what can't. Would you do so in that situation? Scenario, would you approach the guy and ask, or you would hold your peace and keep your dignity? Yeah, so sometimes it's really hard. But then when you look at Ruth and Boaz, it was a tradition. Like if a woman lost her husband and she had no child, the next person in line had to redeem her, and she was able to have possession over everything she had lost, yes, from the husband's side. So the next person who was supposed to redeem her had to be the next relative of her late husband. But then when we see the man who was next in line refused, and then Boaz was okay because he was always seeing her and how she was hardworking and everything that she was doing, and he had interest in her. She had positioned herself well and she was working in his vineyard. So when we see certain things, and she received counsel from Naomi, her mother-in-law, and she had to follow everything that she told her because these were it was their tradition. And when we look at Ruth was a Moabite and Naomi was from Israel. So they knew the customs and traditions of their land, and she had to guide her and teach her what she had to do in order to get a redeemer, someone to redeem her. So yeah, and that's what she did. So sometimes when we are in such a situation, we have to, yeah, there are people who will talk to us, but then you have to be wise, and you're like, is this right for me to do? Because any man, if he's interested in a woman, he definitely has to do the chasing, he definitely has to approach the lady. But the way things are today, it's like some men are, I don't know, afraid of some women. Just like in one of my videos I shared with you how a guy had interest in me, and he said I was meant to be his wife, and he approached my pastor, and when he told him to pray about it, he was, I don't know, I think he got afraid and he didn't come back, and next thing you know, he got married to another woman, and now he is living in regret, and I think he even divorced the woman. So one thing he opened up to me and told me was like, he didn't approach me because he was afraid I was this educated, I looked to be a high class lady, and he was like, maybe he had maybe that low self-esteem, and he felt like maybe if he talked to me, I would not allow him to date me, or I would not accept his proposal. So I think some men have that fear because of certain reasons, though others might have their own reasons and they may not tell you. So in such situations or in such scenarios, would you open up and ask them that they may tell you what their true intentions are? Yes and yes. So I'm still asking you, what would you do when you're in such a place? Drop your comment and tell me what you as a sister would do if you're in such a situation. You see a guy around the corner, maybe he's looking at you, he's always staring, he's always smiling, he's always what? Would you approach him and ask him what his intentions are, or you would just hold your peace and just be like, maybe he's friendly, or that is how he acts? Yes and yes. So, and sometimes when there are those who have tried to approach and they got rejected, that doesn't mean that you've lost your worth. No, sometimes it is harmless for you to ask when you see someone in that scenario, what it is different when maybe you as a lady, maybe you see a guy maybe you like, and then you go and start telling him, you know what, you look nice, you're like this, I think I like you, and can I have your number? So it's kind of different. But then there is that scenario where you see like this man has interest in you, but he is not saying a word. What would you do? So I think I will leave it at that. You will comment and tell me what you would do. And then also, yeah, enjoy your Valentine. Yes, love yourself. With or without a man, you are a woman of great value. With or without a woman, you are a man of substance. You just need to know your place and keep waiting on God and keep trusting in His promises. I love you. God bless you. And happy Valentine. Bye-bye.